Can you hear me? Bring your broken hallelujah here. Bring the large one that is beyond repair. Bring the small one that is too soft to share. Bring your broken hallelujah here. I know that people have told you that before you can give, you have to get yourself together. They overstated the value of perfection by a lot, or they forgot. You are the gift. We all bring some broken things, songs and dreams and long lost hopes, but here together we reach within as a community, we begin again, and from the pieces we will build something new. This is work that only you can do. We wait for you. Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. It is good to be here in community with you. Granted, I am coming to you virtually. Those were not the plans, but COVID had other plans for me, so that's why I'm speaking to you from here instead of in person. But I wanted to say happy Father's Day to all fathers and all those fathering. This holiday can be a joyful one for many and also a painful one for others. I was speaking with someone yesterday who told me she does not go to church on Father's Day because it's too hard on her children, whose father has not been involved in their lives since the divorce. Here, we acknowledge the complexity of fatherhood and make space for it. Today, we are celebrating the unsung of this congregation as we pay tribute to all those who volunteer their time and talent to help this community thrive. We celebrate you. And most importantly, we know that there is no one you without you. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Orlando. I am the Reverend Margalie Belizaire, minister of this congregation. And with me today in service, we have the Director of Black Student Religious Education, Judith Stein-Farrall, Music Director, Aubrey Connelly-Candelario, Guest Musician, Daniela Monzan Villegas, Program Assistant, Gabby Cabrera, Church Administrator, Amy Fairweather, yes, you heard me, and Board Member Joan Nelson. Today's service comes to you by a skeleton crew. We wanted to, as much as possible, give all volunteers the day off, and still with much gratitude to all the wonderful 1U team whose efforts ensure that you are able to gather and worship on Sunday mornings. We miss you all today who are taking the day off, or we've given the day off. Please note that while children are always welcome to join us in the service, the nursery is open to toddlers through pre-K Sunday morning starting at 9:30. Our children and youth are joining us until after the time for our ages this morning. Then they are invited to join the green team in classroom 4 of the Enrichment Center to participate in an art project to support the power of the sun. We welcome all who join us as we explore our Unitarian Universalist faith, which draws us into community of justice seekers with a commitment to lifelong spiritual growth and compassionate service to the community. Whoever you are, whoever you love, you are welcome here. You are welcome here regardless of your color, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental abilities, economic status, or religious background. We welcome you. For more information about our congregation, please go to orlandouu.org or email us at info@orlandouu.org. We have a few announcements for you this morning. And this one might change a little bit, so I'm hoping there will be an update for you from the congregation. Today, we're planning on taking a photo at the Labyrinth directly following the service. These plans might have changed a little bit, so if that is the case, I'm hoping somebody will update us, but they haven't changed. This is something I kind of envision us doing a group photo each year, and everyone is welcome to participate. That is members, friends, youth, and children. But keep in mind that this photo might be used on the website or on Facebook. And following the photo, we have our annual picnic today. So if you would then follow the crowd to the Enrichment Center area for our picnic. Again, all are welcome. We have another announcement from Renee. It's about the mangoes. Woohoo! I know many of you might have been waiting for this. The mangoes are finally ready to be picked, so help yourself. Go pick some, or for those willing to wait, the 1U gardeners will strip the tree next Saturday morning and give them away. So come by between 10 a.m. and noon on the 24th, June 24th, and they will hand you a bag. We want to make sure you know that there will be children's activities every Sunday. And also wanted to let you know that I will be, well, I was supposed to be away at GA this week, but I will attend GA via Zoom because of COVID and so on. And also throughout the rest of the summer, I will be taking some time off in July. Continue to reach out to the caring team for support as needed. And all other announcements are on slides before and after the service and have links in the weekly updates or are on our website. And now, here is this QR code here that if you click on it, you can access the order of service. And please note that at the bottom of the order of service, you can find a link to the weekly updates. And please click on it to view what's going on at 1U. And as I said, this is a service where we are doing poetry for you, the unsung, those who make it possible for our congregation to thrive. In that vein, here is another poem for you. It is also by the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto, The Butterfly Effect. I wish the knowledge were easier to come by, that individualism is just a scam, that you are always the butterfly wings. You are always the storms. Edward Lorenz, a weather scientist from MIT, is sometimes misquoted on this as the premise that the flap of a butterfly wing can cause a hurricane in a different part of the world. Shorthand, that isn't all that close to a representation of the math-turned weather scientist's work. He proposed that should we make even a tiny alteration to nature, we will never know what would have happened if we had not disturbed it, since subsequent changes are too complex and entangled to restore a previous state. Which is to say that you have an immeasurable effect on the system. It will change and you will shape its DNA. You must not believe the lying lie that you do not matter, that whatever change you can organize is so insufficient as to not be worth your time, your energy, your life force. You must be willing to dream a dream that carries forward your community. This is how we rise. The day is polluted with a mistrust of truth, fertile with warm medium for unchecked cruelty and power. You must choose to scream the truth until every leaf and stone bears unrepentant witness to what happens when you try to cage and smash to pin and frame a butterfly and their thousands and thousands of fabulous, flamboyant friends. Now come, beloveds, let us worship together, and let's start by greeting one another. Please join me in reading this special chalice lighting in honor of fathers and those fathering. Our words for the chalice lighting were written from the perspective of Reverend Jessica Starr Rockers. It is, of course, one's perspective of fathering. She writes, every Sunday morning growing up, my father would take us to Mass at St. Peter's Catholic Church. I loved the hymns and the smell and bells, as they say, but the sermons were kind of a bore. So I would occupy myself by counting the cuts and scrapes and bruises on my father's hands. My dad was an electrician and a farmer, working with his hands from before the sun came up until long after it went down. So every week I would take his large hands into my little ones, turning them over, examining, discovering new bruises, and keeping track of the healing of the old ones. I would count the wounds and whisper the tally in his ear. I loved that he let me hold and investigate his hands in this way, snuggled up next to him in the pew, in the quiet of the church with just the priest's voice in the background. Having two jobs that demanded his attention, my dad didn't always have time for such intimacies, except on Sunday mornings. And I took pride in those wounds. It was evidence of how hard my dad worked to take care of his family. He was a man who was often uncomfortable with expressing affection, but I could see in those hands how much he loved me. Was my dad a good dad? Was he there for me when I needed him? Did he protect me and provide for me? Did he care about me? When I ask myself those questions, I think of his hands. We dedicate the lighting of our chalice today in honor of the hands of our fathers for all the ways and all the hard work that they do to show us we are loved. And now, please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn, 128, For All That Is Our Life.
Long Haul People by Rudy Nemser. You find them in churches when you're lucky. Other places too, though I mostly only know ecclesiastical varieties. Long haul people, upon whose shoulders, and pocketbooks and casseroles and daylight nighttime hours, a church is built and maintained after the brass is tarnished and cushions need restitching. They pay their pledges full and on time, even when the music's modern. Support each canvas, though the sermons aren't always short. Mow lawns and come to suppers. Teach Sunday school when there's no one else and they'll miss the service. Ask what they think of the minister, or plans for the kitchen renovation, or the choral anthem, or Christmas pageant, or color of the bathroom paint. They will reply, individuals and fashions arrive and pass. The church, their church, will be here, steady and hale, for a long, long time. It will. For long-haul people bless a church with a very special blessing.
And y'all thought you'd never see Amy in church. So what I'd like is for everyone who considers themselves a child to come up to the front as they are comfortable this morning. I have someone passing out bubbles to anyone who might not have already received them. You don't have to come up to the front, but you can. And normally I would come up there, but you know, we had too many moving parts this morning, so I'm just going to talk from here. Okay. I love this. This is so fun. I took a picture last week just for myself to see all the kids up here. It was so lovely. So I don't have my wonder box this morning, but what was in the basket or up front, or that Karina handed out to you? Did you all bring that little item with you? So what were they? Bubbles. Bubbles. Maya had it too, I see. When we blow bubbles, we create something delightful. There are, what do we see? What do we see when we see bubbles? Bubbles. Yes. Rain, that's exactly in my script. Perfect. Rainbow colors. They're mystical orbs, and they float, right? So what's delightful? What does delightful mean? Do y'all have a sense of what the word delightful means? Go ahead.
Delightful means
Happy. Perfect. Anybody else want to add to the definition of delightful? Joy. It's Reverend Margalie's theme, right? Joy and rest. There we are. So what is delightful about bubbles? Come on. Yep, go ahead, Joe.
when you blow them, they make rainbows.
When you blow them, they make rainbows.
You can chase them.
You can chase them. Maya? They're pretty. Anybody else? Anybody can do it. So, reflection, as a matter of fact. So a bubble is just air wrapped in soap film. And it's made from soap and water or some other liquid. And it's a thin layer of water that lies between the two layers of soap molecules. Now I'm reading this, I'm not a scientist. I'm taking Soul Matters at their word. It's sort of like a water sandwich with soap molecules for the bread. And they work together to hold air inside. It's kind of like all of us, all of you, helping to run a church. We all work together. There we go. It also takes you. So everyone, what I'd like you to do, if you haven't already unwrapped the top of the bubble container, have you all opened them up, prep them? And take a moment and blow some bubbles. Everybody, let's fill the room. We have a bubble machine that I wasn't ready to experiment with this morning. So we will play with it outside later. and I think someone said they reflect what's around them. They float, they pop. Bubbles are magical. They are lighter than air. They hold rainbows in them. They disappear. This is exactly what makes the feeling of delight so special and surprising and magical.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky. Then, like my dreams, they fade and die. Fortunes always hiding. I've looked everywhere. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
All right. Thank you all for being part of the wonderful, oh, I see bubbles all along the front row of seats. It's so much fun. It's going to be wet over there. Don't sit in the front row today. All right. Now, please join me as we sing our children out to class. And
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
we have another surprise at the pulpit this morning.
Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing? Hi. All right. So this poem was written as a pandemic poem, but it serves a purpose this morning as a reminder that even for the most dedicated of volunteers, there will be times when there isn't much that you can do. Today, When I Could Do Nothing by Jane Hirschfield. Today, when I could do nothing, I saved an ant. It must have come in with the morning paper, still being delivered. To those who shelter in place, a morning paper is still an essential service. I'm not an essential service. I have coffee and books, time, a garden, silence enough to fill cisterns. It must have first walked, the morning paper as it loosened ink, taking the shape of an ant. Then across the laptop computer, warm, then onto the back of a cushion. Small black ant, alone, crossing a navy cushion, moving steadily because that is what it could do. Set outside in the sun, it could not have found again its nest. What then did I save? It did not move as if it was frightened, even while walking in my hand, which moved it through swiftness and air. Ant alone, without companions, whose ant heart could not fathom. How is your life, I wanted to ask. I lifted it, took it outside. The first day when I could do nothing, contribute nothing, beyond staying distant from my own kind, I did this.
So, hi. I am Judith Stein-Farrall, the Director of Lifespan Religious Enrichment, if you did not already know that. We invite you now into the practice of generosity. It is one of our spiritual values which sustains the life and ministries of the church community. Let us be grateful for this opportunity to give, for it is a privilege to be able to do so. And let us be grateful for our needs, for they give us the opportunity to practice receiving. Today's full collection will go to the ministries of this congregation. Also, please note that the Share the Plate partner for this month of June is iDignity, and you can use the link in the newsletter or on the screen to donate directly to them. Please let one you know that you have donated. The offering will now be collected. Note that you can also give online using the link.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be for me. A card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be for me. And that card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. 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 Thank you for being a friend.
And let us joyfully receive what is offered here today in the spirit of gratitude and fellowship.
Song for the Unsung by Steve J. Crump. You make the coffee, set up the tables, and organize the cleaning when the rest of us have gone home. You know where the brooms and the supplies are kept. You run to the store in the nick of time. You find the great stuff to sell at the fundraiser. You remember to use eye language. You speak passionately with a clear voice and listen with open-mindedness. You consider you tone when you speak. You say you want to be part of the solution, part of the healing, by hanging in there. You come up with new ideas. You gracefully accept the group choosing someone else's idea. You step up to make the extra contribution. You make welcoming room for others. You acknowledge children and are happy to be around them. You hold a child, hold a confidence, and hold a hand. You go the extra mile, contribute the extra dollar, and give the benefit of doubt. You know that church life is all about relationships, and because you know this, your spiritual discipline of forgiveness is always at hand. You, with your presence alone, offer a holy companionship. You accompany others in their dark night of the soul. You do what you do because you can. You often wish you could do more. You labor not for praise or for a song, but for the good in the doing of work. But we sing the song of praise for you, the unsung in our church, and our hearts are glad in the singing because we know the many, many things you do. We appreciate you very much.
A lot of moving parts this morning as things change. You know? This is the time we set aside for deep sharing of our hearts and for prayer and meditation. If you have a sorrow that you need witnessed or helped with, or have a joy that you wish to share, please contribute to our collective sharing of joys and sorrows to be read each Sunday during our worship. You can email us at joysandconcerns@orlandouu.org during the week. You can fill out a card at the registration table if you are attending in person and hand it to an usher. And also you can participate in the candle lighting ritual coming up. So from those at 1U, good wishes are appreciated as Rhonda's mother has hip replacement surgery tomorrow, hoping for a speedy recovery. A concern. Sarah Lochner's mom is dealing with multiple myeloma in Illinois. Please send all healing thoughts her way. A joy. Many warm thanks to Kathy Spoon and Greg Buckingham for hosting the great Bunko party last night. We all had a blast, lots of laughs. A concern from Jeannie Carter. On Tuesday, my dog Molly is having surgery at the University of Florida to remove a tumor. Healing thoughts and moral support would be very much appreciated. She's my only child. And now a joy. The new little free library has been unveiled. You get to see it later. Check it out by the garden. Thank you to the team who worked on this fun project, and a huge thank you to Mike McCluskey for building our magnificent little free library. Also want to share a sadness that we're experiencing in the religious community for the lack of recognition of women in the Southern Baptist faith and their value in the pulpit. The other thing we want to think about, one of the other things, is that today is our picnic, it's Father's Day, and tomorrow is the celebration of Juneteenth. Justice delayed is justice denied, said Martin Luther King Jr. And we still see that in our world today. If anyone does not know, Juneteenth was the day in Galveston, Texas, where those enslaved, the last major group of those enslaved, got word of the Emancipation Proclamation and were able to start recognizing what that might mean for them. We hold the fears and sorrows of all the mothers and their beloveds affected by brutality from war and other situations that are beyond our control and their control. Let us send loving kindness to all those in crisis, pain, and suffering, especially due to conditions beyond their control. And for all those joys and sorrows shared, and for those held close to our hearts, let us pray, let's celebrate, and let's send each other healing energy. And healing energy to Reverend Margalie.
And now I said, this is a service, as we all said, we have all said, this is a service celebrating you who make one you what it is. So we would like to ask all those who have volunteered in some capacity at One You to stand as you are willing and able for a blessing, and for the rest of us to put our hands as such towards them, sending your healing energy towards them. Everyone who has volunteered in some capacity, if you would stand as willing and able, and the rest of us will have our hands like this towards you, and then I will share this blessing for you. May the boundless love that unites us all flow through your hearts, dear One You volunteers. As you dedicate your time and energy to serving others, may you be blessed with wisdom, compassion, and patience. May your hands be guided by the spirit of light and justice as you work towards building a world where all are treated with dignity and respect. May your voices be filled with words of encouragement, offering solace to those in need and empowering those who seek change. In your tireless efforts, may you find strength and inspiration, knowing that you are a part of a community that values inclusion, diversity, and the inherent worth of every soul. May you be reminded of the profound impact of your actions, transforming lives and nurturing the spirit of love. And may you be nurtured and supported in your journey, in your own journey of growth and discovery. For as you serve others, you also cultivate the seeds of compassion within yourself. May you find joy and fulfillment in the sacred task of tending to the needs of the community, knowing your contributions are cherished and celebrated. Beloveds, if you don't know that, may you know that you are appreciated, that your work makes it easier for the rest of us to be able to do our own work. And may the divine light guide you on your path, and may you be surrounded by the embrace of a loving community. Blessed are you, the volunteers, for you are the embodiment of our shared commitment to justice, equity, and the inherent worth of all. Amen. And please now, volunteers, you can take your seat. If everyone who's willing and able would participate in our candle lighting ritual. As you go up, if you are one who volunteers all the time, rest in the deep knowing that your contribution is valuable. And others, may you join this group of unsung heroes in our congregation, and may you send them healing energy. Please now go ahead and participate in our candle lighting ritual. Aubrey will play music softly in the back as you do so.
stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Wow, I haven't even started yet. So I said I would bring something to this moment. A poem is what it said in the order of service. And as I was writing, and I've written 3 over the last few days for this, and none of them seemed to fit where we were in the service. I realized we needed something a little different. So as you have heard around this church, volunteers can be the lever. They are such a help. Even in the zombie apocalypse, volunteers will be needed more than ever. But sometimes there are opportunities that are best to shirk. I was asked if I wanted to volunteer at the U2 concert. I said I don't do pro bono work. Everyone has to find which call that they might answer. I have a friend that volunteers at fairs as a jouster. They call him a freelancer. And then, of course, their clothes, the volunteers, have equivalents. What kind of clothes do volunteers wear? We call them participants. You're getting it. Sometimes saying no, you should not fear. Oh, did you say volunteer? I thought you said be of good cheer. Woo-hoo. Only a volunteer do you get to make a cake. Only as a volunteer do you get to make a cake and eat it too. Some of the smartest people that I know might simply fall or stumble, but many of the best cookies volunteer and do not ever crumble. Just remember that the work we do here is not something that needs to be obsessionals for those biblical. After all, Noah's Ark was built by volunteers. Titanic was built by professionals. Truly, thank you. We are grateful to each and every act of kindness all of you have shared. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Joan Nelson, outgoing president of your Board of Trustees. And as I come to the end of my 2 years of serving as the board president, it's actually an honor for me to take this time to recognize all of the folks who make this place happen. Each week we begin the service by mentioning the teams that make the Sunday gathering happen, our beloved community possible, all of the volunteer efforts that run far deeper than that. This is the time we're recognizing those. From our youngest children to our esteemed elders, our congregational volunteers are vital to every program that we service and offer. So of our large congregation, well more than half of you do something every day that contributes to us out in the community, here on our campus. And for that, we are very grateful. And let's just take a moment. I know we stood earlier. Stand again so that we can give you guys an applause. I'm also proud to announce that the Board of Trustees is taking a new step to honor volunteers. And so for the first time, we are naming a Volunteer of the Year. And we plan to do this each year and to bring this to the folks around the time of the annual meeting. And this year's Volunteer of the Year, and I'm going to ask him to come forward, and that is the longtime member and amazing volunteer, Dan Hamlet. I wanted him up here in particular so that he can hear all of the things that we know that he's contributed, and then there's so many more behind the scenes. He's a member of the Welcome Team, he participates in Wellspring, belongs to a covenant group, and has been instrumental in the transition to our new operations team. He has spearheaded the introduction of safety measures, including organizing and helping and conduct our first ever fire drills. That is getting all of UUs to do one thing at the same time. Can you imagine what that takes? But more importantly, Dan was the lead on our buildings and grounds team for over 7 years, and this involves seeing maintenance of our campus and landscape, making it much more attractive and a safe environment. He was also the key liaison with our contractor for our renovation of the Religious Enrichment Center, Gore Hall, and again for the recent upgrades to our sanctuary. This was a Herculean task, and Dan did it in Dan's way: quiet, strength, listening to all inputs, and from staff, from the board, from the congregation. Again, you can imagine what that's like in a UU congregation, lots of input to listen to. So Dan, we just want you to know how much we appreciate you, and this was when I was supposed to call him forward, but I've got him here now. And the flower team wants to say that the flowers are in recognition of your service, and they want to, again, acknowledge everything you've done. And this is also just a small token of appreciation for you, Dan. You can use that at your favorite store, REI, for one of his favorite hobbies, hiking. And again, we want to thank all of you, and we're going to ask those of you on your way out to accept another small token of our appreciation that we will have ready for you when you leave. And also, the picnic has been moved from the Enrichment Center to be right outside here in Gore Hall. So with that, we thank you again, and Dan, another special thank you.
I am muted. Here I am. Again, thank you so much, Dan, and thank you so much, all of you who volunteer at 1U. We also wanted to make sure we are acknowledging the fathers, so we want to do a blessing for you as we did for mothers and mothering during Mother's Day. So would all who are fathers and all who are fathering, please stand as you are willing and able. You can do it. Yes, yes, please. And then again, the rest of us will send our energy to them by doing so as I read this blessing for you. On this day, on this Father's Day, we offer a blessing for fathers and all of those who take on the sacred role of fathering, recognizing the complexity that resides within this cherished relationship. To the fathers who have nourished, protected, and guided their children with unwavering love, we honor your presence and the immeasurable impact you have had on their lives. May you continue to be a source of strength compassion, and wisdom, offering your children a steady hand to hold as they navigate the winding path of life. To fathers who have faced challenge and made mistakes along the way, we acknowledge the profound journey you have embarked. May you find forgiveness and healing within yourself, knowing that growth and transformation are part of the human experience. To fathers who have assumed the role of both mother and father, juggling multiple responsibilities and roles, we admire resilience and strength, and may you find solace in the knowledge that your dedication and sacrifice have made profound difference in the lives of those you care for. And to those who have stepped forward to fill the void left by absent fathers, whether as stepfathers, mentors, or chosen family, we honor your selflessness and commitment. May you be embraced with gratitude and recognition for the love and stability you provide. And we acknowledge that fathers and fathering come in various forms and expression, transcending biological ties. On this day, we offer a blessing to all fathers and those who embody the essence of fathering. May you be filled with grace, compassion, and wisdom. May it be so. And now, if you would rise and bow your spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 1029, When the Spirit Says Do.
Missing from the end of each slide is a small reprise that we shall sing, which is just Spirit Says Do. So when you get to the end of the slide, know we're going to vamp on that before the next verse. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when it says do. You gotta do, oh Lord. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing, oh Lord. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta dance, oh Lord. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do, oh Lord. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says do.
Sorry, folks, we lost the internet. So we don't have her on the Zoom right now. So it's improv time.
Gabby, did you point to me? Okay. You are the only one, but you are one. You cannot do everything, but you can do something. And because you cannot do everything, you ought not to refuse to do the something that you can do. Beloveds, thank you for, I just want to make sure she's not showing up. Thank you for doing the something that you can do. Your time and efforts are appreciated. Now, worship has ended, and the service continues. Reverend Margalie's call to action this morning is enjoy the picnic. And now I guess I get to say the words as I extinguish the chalice. Please help me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Volunteers, you will be given a little gift on your way out the door.